Hello, Alicia. Welcome to
Hi.
Acupuncture Professional. We're so thrilled to have you.
Thank you.
So, in preparing for this interview, I've been doing a bit of research, and what I've come to realize is, aside from what you've launched onto the acupuncture scene with building a
Mhm.
six-figure practice, which you can see here, you've also been involved in a whole other range of initiatives, including CrossFit and a food blog called Sweet Cheeks.
Yeah.
So, before we hear about your acupuncture experience, I'd really love to hear about both your exercise and your interest in diet and nutrition.
CrossFit and Sweet Cheeks they ended about a year and a half ago, but I was in that world for like about 6 years. I loved CrossFit. It was a lot of fun. I'm really big on taking care of myself, exercise, food. It's such a part of your health. So I found at my CrossFit gym that there was a need for food guidance because people were kind of confused about how to eat healthy. So my roommate and I at the time, we just started a food blog. So we helped everybody with their food and what to eat. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and so it sounds to me, what's obviously, of course, from the work that you do, it's so holistic that rather than just look at acupuncture as a treatment, you look at how that fits with somebody's diet, how that looks with their
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle. So, I'm really intrigued to know how you sort of practice what you preach.
Well, I mean, I love working out. I work out all the time. I'm always eating healthy. I'm always trying out different things with myself. I talk to my patients a lot about experimenting with your food and figure out what makes you feel best. I do that all the time. I'm always getting enough sleep. I try and meditate because that's always not regular. And then just live a healthy, positive life, really. And that is how I treat my patients. And that's how I treat my acupuncture students, too. I tell them it's really important to be your medicine because that sets such a good example for your patients. And when you're vibrant and healthy, then they see that you can make them that.
Indeed. And so tell me a little bit more, that whole area of thinking positive that seems to underpin so much of what you do and the
Yeah,
messages that you share with, as you say, with your patients, but also other acupuncturists. So could
yeah.
you tell me a little bit more about those messages for practitioners, particularly those that might be feeling a bit low, finding it really challenging, working in solo practice?
Mm-hmm.
What can you offer that might help them?
Mindset is everything in the success of your practice. It's so important. And, it makes so much sense because mindset is such a big part of our medicine. Acupuncture is all about the power of the mind to cure your body. So, of course, the power of the mind is also going to help you in the success of your practice. So, it's very important to be careful who you're listening to for business advice, who you're surrounded by on a regular basis, what you're reading, what you're listening to, all that stuff goes into your head and starts to just program you, and you don't realize that. And unless you're filling yourself full of positive, inspirational, motivational things on a regular basis, then you can kind of get stuck in the dumps and be a little negative, and it's hard to see the sunny side of how you're going to make your practice work if you're not really surrounding yourself with like-minded practitioners and things that really boost you up every day, like every day.
Mm. Well, one of the things that I found, and I went into clinical practice really early, having gone straight from high school to becoming an acupuncturist. So I was
Mm-hmm.
23 when I graduated
Mm-hmm.
and felt completely overwhelmed, thinking, how can
Mm-hmm.
I've had
Yeah.
no life experience. I've gone straight from high school to university, studied acupuncture, and now I'm a practitioner. And one of the things that really ate away at me in those really early years, and I'm going back quite some time now, but was this incredible sense of self-doubt where
Mm-hmm.
I would see somebody and I would do my very best to deliver a good treatment, but the whole time I was wondering, what do they think of me, and do they think that I'm
Mm-hmm.
capable of doing it? Do I think I'm capable myself of being able to do this treatment?
Mm-hmm.
And then the final thing was, and this is the real clincher, was when they don't come back again.
Mm-hmm.
The patients you never hear from again, and I remember thinking this predates mobile phones, so I thought I can't really send a text message, but thinking to
Yeah.
myself, what did they get better? I
Yeah.
know that there are some practitioners out there that would say that was a
Yeah.
100% success rate, but
Yeah.
personally, I found myself thinking the worst and thinking,
Mm-hmm.
that I chose the wrong points, I approached it the wrong way. There was something
Mm-hmm.
in the exchange. So my question for you,
Mm-hmm.
if I am representing other practitioners out there that have this feeling of self-doubt, the not knowing, how someone's responding to your treatment, how do you manage those sorts of questions and feelings?
Well, first off, we study for, I don't know what it is where you are, but over here it's 4 years of grad school to become an acupuncturist. Yeah, 4. So you know so much. You know what you're doing. And in the beginning, when you're treating your patients, basically any points in them anywhere is going to help them. It really is. You know, you're not going to harm them if you accidentally treat the liver channel instead of the spleen channel. You know, it's all going to help them. And I find that people don't come back for appointments not because of your treatment, but because of how you communicate to them, how you need the treatment plan to work, and how you need them to participate as a patient in order for the treatment to work, like in order for them to get into the office enough times. Because a lot of times patients or practitioners just don't schedule their patient again when they leave. They don't know how to speak to them correctly. They don't know how to get it across to them how many times they need to come in and what type of time frame. A lot of times the basic public is just not educated on how acupuncture works. So it's
Yeah.
nothing personal.
As an example, well, I remember I used to end my consultations with go away and see how you feel, and then call me if you need me. And
No.
now now of course I do things really differently, but it's the same. I think so. What would be your what's your exit pitch? What's your line when you say to patients that you think you need to see again?
Well, it's not exactly an exit pitch. It's almost the whole entire time that I'm treating them, I'm educating them on how I need this to work. So it's during the interview that I tell them, depending upon if they have an acute case or a chronic case. Acute cases, I say, take around about 6 treatments. Chronic can take about 10 or more. I say, so when I start treating someone, I'm going to need to see you at least twice a week for the first 1 to 2 weeks. And then as long as your symptoms are better and they're staying better, then we can back off to once a week, and we'll stay on once a week for a while until we basically eliminate your symptoms. And then I always tell my patients to at least come in once a month for a tune-up treatment, and that sets the stage too for the patient to expect to hear from you, expect to come in at least once a month, because people, even if you fix one thing, something else is going to come up, you know, that you can treat. So if you have them coming in at least once a month and they expect to hear from you, it's a really just organic way of getting people in your office that works great.
And when you say hear from you, what sort of communication systems have you got in place to maintain that ongoing dialogue with your patients?
You know what? All email. Like, I just use email. I don't really have any like technological systems in place.
That's
I
good to hear.
will.
I'm sure that's very
Yeah,
refreshing
no,
for most
you
people
don't
to
have
hear.
to. I mean, a lot of times patients will contact you, and then other times I will literally just look through my file cabinet like once a month, and I'll just shoot out emails to everybody that hasn't been in a while. You know, I'll say, hey, you know, just want to see how you're doing. And often ask them how their last symptom was that we treated, and it's about time for your tune-up treatment. Just come in. It's really like a very short, simple email, and people
And
will.
this is a personal. This isn't a newsletter. This isn't
No,
a broad
no, I'll write
marketing
like directly
strategy.
to them. Yeah, I mean, how I run my business is very personal. You know, my patients are very important to me, and I care about every single patient. You know, and it's a very personal business. So yeah, I'll just shoot them an email, and often, you know, I'll take little notes in their chart about their kids or something that they told me about, and I'll check in on them with that too, because I'm curious too. I want to know how they're doing with everything.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds wonderful. Now, so have you ever had any resistance? Given that this is so much part of your strategy is making sure that you're clearly communicating to patients what your expectation is in order for them to benefit from their treatment. Do you ever have people resisting to that idea of being put on some sort of treatment plan?
No, not really, because you're in charge, you know, and that's something that you have to convey to the patient. You are a doctor. You are the doctor. You're in charge, and you know what they need. It'd be like if they went to a Western doctor and they said, here, take this medicine, you know, 3 times a day for the next 2 weeks. Like, you're in charge, you know, and unless they do what you say, then they're not going to get better. You know, and I tell my patients that I want you to get better in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of treatments, but this is what we need to do.
Mm.
So
And does that change much? Are you finding that you can now predict what the prognosis is depending on their condition, or you find that it's better to give yourself that window of 6 treatments for acute and up to 10 to 12 for chronic as a framework?
I mean, that is the general what I say, but yeah, everybody's so different, and I mean, crazy things can happen. Like if you're treating someone for pain, it could be gone in one treatment, you never know. And then someone who has a really chronic issue, you're dealing more with consulting them on their lifestyle habits too, which can take a little longer because until they switch out, their diet or their exercise, then you're not really making a lot of headway. So yeah, it definitely varies.
And have you ever said no to a patient? Are there types of people that you don't treat, or types of conditions that you've decided that aren't for you, or an area that you might consider saying that you're not the acupuncturist for them, but there might be somebody else?
Not that
Because
like
it strikes me that you attract a really motivated patient, and I'm wondering,
mm,
what would happen if somebody came, that idea of that. I guess it's the understanding about, when to say no to patients and saying, no, I'm not.
yeah. Um, I mean, I definitely tell it straight up. If I start working with someone and they keep canceling their appointment, they're not getting in, like the appointments are too far apart, so we're not making a headway. I'll just tell them, it's we're never going to get anywhere, or it's going to take a really long time to see any progress with your treatment unless you can get in this amount of times, or unless you can change this kind of lifestyle habit. So I tell them straight up, but I won't say no. I won't not work with anyone. At least I haven't yet.
Yeah, oh no, that sounds terrific. And so tell me, with all of this, one of the things that really strikes me as extraordinary is you saying you've come from CrossFit and you've come from your food blog, and then you've now obviously channeled that same enthusiasm and all that passion into acupuncture. And
Mm-hmm.
it being so, tell me, what's your vision? Where do you see your guidance looking at something like building a six-figure practice? How would you see that benefiting the healthcare landscape?
Well, my mission is to mainstream Eastern medicine. So that's why I'm helping acupuncturists, because so many acupuncturists have such a hard time staying in business and figuring out the business side. And if we can't get an army of acupuncturists to stay in business, then we're never going to be able to educate the public on why to go to an acupuncturist, how they can, or yeah, why to go to an acupuncturist instead of the MD. We're never going to get it mainstream. I can treat a few patients here and there an hour, but if we have thousands of acupuncturists all over the world treating patients, it's an unlimited impact. And we just really need people to understand what our medicine does. And the more that we treat patients, the more they understand that. I have so many times that patients come into my office and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know that you could help me with that. I thought acupuncture was only for pain or this or that." And I'm like, "Yes, we can help you with everything." But people just don't know. So I really want more successful acupuncturists out there so that we can treat more patients and everything slowly starts to turn and people come more to Eastern medicine first before Western. We need integration for sure, but we need Eastern to take a bigger role in the medical world these days. Like Western medicine does not have all the answers anymore, and we can treat things so effectively and simply that Western medicine kind of can mess up sometimes. So it's just really getting awareness out there.
It's brilliant. It's really that choice of language you just used, but you said there's an what we could achieve with endless impact if we join
Mm.
together. And it's really
Oh
interesting to
yeah.
say that we're involved in a movement at the moment called Impact, which is really that same
Oh
idea
really?
of bringing acupuncturists together and saying
Oh, I love it.
what people are doing in their individual practices needs to be shared with the profession in
Yeah.
order to then influence the healthcare landscape. So I absolutely
Yeah.
support your idea of helping individual practitioners strive and achieve in their business. And then that will obviously benefit the whole profession. And the
Yeah.
most important thing, it'll benefit the community. It'll benefit those people out there that are suffering conditions they don't need to unnecessarily because they
Exactly.
just haven't found the right practitioner. Acupuncture Professional Impact, October 28, 2014. Join Deborah Betts, author, acupuncturist, and pregnancy and childbirth specialist, with Giovanni Macoccia, author and founder of The Three Treasures, along with Peter Dedman, founder of the Journal of Chinese Medicine and co-author of a manual of acupuncture, and Joshua Soul, president of the Triple AOM student organization in the USA, along with Matthew Bauer, author of Making Acupuncture Pay. Register now. What would be your advice then to new graduates, people that are just coming out at the moment or just about to graduate? What would be the sort of perhaps a couple of key messages that you say to those people in order to get through those bumpy years?
I would say a few things. That they're not alone, and I would try and find other practitioners or people that graduated before you or online stuff, to really fill your head up with that and get some advice so that you don't have to figure it all out on your own. And also, I would tell them that I believe in them, because sometimes people just really need someone to believe in them, that they can do it and that they can help people. And you get out of school and you're so overwhelmed and you just were studying for boards and you're exhausted and you can't even stay healthy yourself at that point. So it's hard to think about helping other people, but you really just need support and you need someone to believe in you. So seek that out in other practitioners or other classmates or teachers or online groups, like whomever. But don't isolate yourself. I think that is very detrimental to acupuncturists. And like we were just saying, I want to bring more of a cohesiveness to our community, even, and worldwide. Why not?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And one of the things that I love, and this will sort of be my final comment, is the fact that through this, the fact that I'm from in London, England, and you're in California, and we're able to connect to each other on a one evening during the week. I think we are living in the most extraordinary time in terms of technology to be able to achieve that. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking time to talk with us today at Acupuncture Professional. So just before we go along, could you just tell us a little bit more about how somebody else can find you and what it is you offer through building a six-figure practice?
Yeah, you can find me on my website, sixfigureacupuncturist.com, and I'm offering an online video training course that takes you through 7 steps for building a successful six-figure practice. And you also become a member of a private Facebook community, which is all the six-figure acupuncturists. So it's a very supportive environment, very inspirational, very positive, very motivating, which is our thing, and it works.
Yeah.
Positivity works.
It's interesting. You said it's about connecting with people and it's about having people believe in you. So I love the fact that you're doing that and that you're changing the world, one practitioner at a time. I think it's brilliant. So thank you again for sharing that incredible enthusiasm and the passion, and it's coming through. I hope our audience can feel it too. So all the best, and thanks again for your time.
Thank you.